Chapter 3 Wong Khan of the Karaites. A fresh opportunity came now to Temujin to beat down an enemy and strengthen himself at the same time. The Qin emperor sent Wong Qin, his minister, with an army against the Lake Bulyar Tartars, since they would neither do what he wished nor pay tribute. Not having strength to resist, they moved to new places, higher up on the Ulcha. Temujin acted now in a double manner. On the one hand, he seemed as if helping the Qin sovereign, and represented his action to the Golden Khan's minister in that way. Meanwhile, when assembling his intimates, he said, "Those boyar men killed both my father and uncle. Now is the time to attack them, not to help the Qin sovereign, but to avenge our own people." To Togrul he sent in great haste this statement: "The Golden Khan is pursuing the Lake Bulyar Tartars. Those men are thy enemies and mine, so do thou help me, my father." Togrul came with aid quickly. Temujin sent to Sachai Baiki and Daichu of the Cherkis and asked help of them also. He waited 6 days for reinforcements, but no man appeared from the Cherkis. Thereupon he with Togrul marched down the Ulcha and fell on the Tartars. He was on one bank and Togrul on the other. The Tartars could not retreat, since the Golden Khan's men were pursuing, so they raised a strong fortress against them. Temujin and Togrul broke into this fortress. Many Tartars were slain and many captured, among them their leader. Temujin put this man to death in revenge for his father. Immense booty was taken by Temujin and his ally in captives, in cattle, and property of all sorts. Among other things taken was a silver cradle and a cloth of gold which lay over it. Temujin received praise for his action. Without striking a blow, the minister had accomplished his mission, and later he took to himself before his sovereign the merit of making Togrul and Temujin do his work for him. He gave Temujin the title Chao Huri, and to Togrul the title of Wang Khan was given. "I am thankful," said the minister. "When I return, I will report all to my sovereign and win for you a still higher title." Then he departed. Temujin and Togrul, now Wang Khan, and thus we shall call him hereafter, went to their own places also. In the captured Tartar camp a boy was discovered. He had a gold ring in his nose. Around his waist was a belt edged with sable, and it had golden tassels. They took the lad straightway to Hoylan, who made her 6th son, and named him. He was known ever after as Shigi Kutuku. Temujin had left at Halil Lake many people. While he was absent, the Cherkis stripped 50 of these men, tore their clothes off, and slew 10 of them. Temujin was enraged at this action. "Why endure deeds of this kind from the Cherkis?" exclaimed he. "At our feast in the forest, they cut Belgutai in the shoulder. When I was avenging my father and uncle, they would not give aid to us. They went to our enemies and helped them. Now I will punish those people befittingly." So he led out his men to ruin the Cherkis. At Dolan Boldau on the Kerulan, he captured every Cherki warrior except Sachai Baiki and Daichu, who rushed away empty-handed. Temujin hunted these 2 men untiringly till he caught them. "We have not done what we promised," said they in reply to his questions. They stretched out their necks as they said this, and Temujin cut their heads off. He returned after that to Dolan Boldau and led off into slavery what remained of the Cherkis. The origin of the Cherkis was as follows. Kabul Khan, Temujin's great-grandfather, had 7 sons. Of these the eldest was Okin Barka. Kabul chose strong, daring, skilled archers and gave them as attendants to Okin Barka.
No matter where they went, those attendants vanquished all who opposed them, and at last no man dared vie with such champions. Hence they received the name Churki. Kabul Khan's second son, Bartan, was father of Yesuge, Temujin's supposed father. Kabul's grandson, child of his third son, Munlir, was Buri Buga, the comrade of the grandsons of Okin Barka. Buri Buga had given his adhesion to the Khan much earlier than others, but he remained independent in feeling, hence Temujin did not trust him. Though no man among Mongols could equal Buri Buga in strength or in wrestling, he did not escape a cruel death. Some time after the reduction of the Churkis, Temujin commanded Belgutai and Buri Buga to wrestle in his presence. Whenever Belgutai wrestled with Buri Buga, the latter was able with one leg and one hand to hold him as still as lifeless. This time Buri Buga, who feigned to be beaten, fell with his face to the earth under Belgutai, who, having him down, turned toward Temujin for direction. Temujin bit his lower lip. Belgutai knew what this sign meant, and putting his knee to the spine of Buri Buga, seized his neck with both hands and broke the backbone of his opponent. "I could not lose in this struggle," said the dying Buri Buga, "but fearing the Khan, I feigned defeat, and then yielded, and now thou hast taken my life from me." At this time, Talaigotu, a man of the Jelars, who had 3 sons, commanded the eldest, named Gunua, with his 2 sons, Mukuli and Buga, to go to Temujin and say to him, "These sons of mine will serve you forever. If they leave your doors, draw from their legs all the sinews within them. After that, cut their hearts out, and also their livers." Then Talaigotu commanded Chilaun, his second son, to present himself with Tunge and Hashi, his own 2 sons, and speak as follows: "Let these my sons guard your golden doors carefully. If they fail, take their lives from them." After that, Talaigotu gave Chebke, his third son, to Temujin's brother, Kasar. Chebke had found in the camp of the Churki a boy, Borul, whom he gave to Hoylun. Hoylun, having placed the 4 boys, Kuichu, Kokochu, Shigi Kutuku, and Borul with her own children, watched over all with her eyes during the day, and listened to them with her ears in the night-time. This she reared them all. Who was Togrul of the Karaites, better known as Wang Khan? This is a question of deep interest in the history of the Mongols, for this man had great transactions with Temujin. He had much to do also with Yesuge, Temujin's father. Markus Buyuruk, Togrul's grandfather, who ruled in his day, was captured by Naur, a Tartar chieftain, and sent to the Qin emperor, who had him nailed to a wooden ass and then chopped into pieces. His widow resolved to take vengeance on Naur for this dreadful death of her husband. She set out some time later to give a feigned homage to Naur, and to marry him if possible, as was stated in confidence by some of her servitors. She brought to Naur 100 sheep and 10 mares, besides 100 large cowskins, holding, as was said, distilled mare's milk, but each skin held a well-armed living warrior. A feast was given straightway by Naur, during which the 100 men were set free from the cowskins, and, aided by attendants of the widow, they slew the Khan and his household. Markus left 4 sons. The 2 most distinguished were Kurja Kuz and Gurkhan. Kurja Kuz succeeded his father. Togrul succeeded Kurja Kuz, his own father, by slaying 2 uncles besides a number of cousins. Gurkhan, his remaining uncle, fled and found asylum with Inanji, Taiyang of the neighboring Naimans, whom he roused to assist him. Gurkhan, hen with the Naiman troops, drove out Togrul and made himself ruler. Togrul, attended with 100 men, went to Yesuge and implored aid of him. Yesuge reinstated Togrul and forced Gurkhan to flee to Tangut. Togrul vowed endless friendship to his ally and became his sworn friend, or onda. When Yasuge was poisoned by Tartars, Temujin, his son, a boy at that time, lost authority and suffered for years from the Taijiuts. Togrul gave help to Temujin and harbored him. After that, as has already been related, when Temujin had married and the Merkits stole his wife, Togrul assisted in restoring her, and with her a part of Temujin's people. In 1194, he was given the title Wang Khan. Later, his brother expelled him, and this time he fled to the Uyghurs, but sought aid in vain from the Itikut, or ruler of that people. He led a wretched life for some time without resource or property, and lived, as is stated, milk from a small herd of goats, his sole sustenance. He learned at last that Temujin had grown in power, hence he begged aid from him, and got it. Temujin gave Wang Khan cattle, and in the autumn of 1196 made a feast for this his old benefactor.
Promised to consider him thenceforth as a father, and to help him as an ally. In 1197, the two allies defeated the barons, seizing Sijabiji and Taiju, their leader. That same year they fell upon the Merkits, a nation of 4 tribes ruled then by Tuktabiji. One of these tribes was defeated near the Selinga. Temujin let Wang Khan keep all the booty taken. Wang Khan, in 1198, the year following, undertook unassisted a war against the Merkits, capped Jilaun, the son of Tuktabiji, and slew Tugun, another son. He took also Kutu, Tukta's brother. He seized all Jilaun's herds and people, but gave no part of this booty to Temujin. In 1199, the two allies marched to attack the Naimans, a people strong and famous while under Buga Khan, an able ruler. But when this Khan died, his 2 sons, to gain a certain concubine left by their father, began a murderous quarrel, which brought about the division of the country. The elder man, Bai Buga, called Taiyang by his subjects and his neighbors, retained the level country, while Burik, his brother, took mountain places. Each ruled alone, and each was an enemy of the other. Wang Khan and Temujin, remembering former robberies by the Naimans, and wishing too to add wealth and power to what they themselves had, attacked Burik at Kizilbash near the Altai. They seized many captives and much precious booty. Burik then moved westward, followed closely by the allies, and fighting with great vigor. One of his leaders, Iditukluk, who brought up the rear guard, fought till his men were all slain or made prisoners. He struggled alone then till his saddle girth burst, and he was captured. After this, the allies came in contact with Gugsu Serak, another of the Naiman commanders, who had much greater forces and had chosen his position. This man had plundered Wang Khan's brother somewhat earlier and a portion of his kinsfolk. The allies had met him already and hoped now to crush him. They would have attacked him immediately, but since evening was near, they chose to wait till next morning for battle. Jamuka, ever ready to injure Temujin, went to Wang Khan and made him believe that he was on the eve of betrayal and would be ruined by Temujin and the Naimans. Wang Khan set out for home that night. Temujin, thus deserted, was forced to withdraw, which he did unobserved. Gugsu Serak followed Wang Khan in hot haste and overtook his 2 brothers. He captured their families as well as their property and cattle. Then he entered Wang Khan's land and found there rich booty of all kinds. Wang Khan sent Sengun, his son, to meet Serak. Meanwhile, he hurried off messengers to Temujin and begged of him assistance. Temujin, considering the plight of his ally, but still more his own peril should Wang Khan's men be routed and captured by the Naimans, sent his 4 ablest chiefs to assist him. These were Borchu, Mukuli, Borul, and Jilaun. These 4 led their men by hurried marches and had just reached the battleground when Wang Khan's force was broken, his best leaders killed, and Sengun, his son, on a lame, wounded stallion, was fleeing.
All the Khan's property had been taken by the Naimans. Borchu dashed up with all speed to Sengun, gave him the horse on which he himself had ridden up to that moment, and sat then on the gray steed which Temujin had given him as a mark of great favor. He was not to strike this horse for any reason. He had merely to rub the whip along his mane to make him rush with lightning speed during action. Borchu sent forward his fresh troops, chosen warriors, and next he rallied Sengun's scattered forces to help them against the Naimans. The Naimans, drunk with victory and not thinking of defeat, were soon brought to their senses. Temujin's heroes recovered everything snatched from Wang Khan's people, both horses and property. Wang Khan, on the field there, thanked his firm ally and thanked the 4 splendid leaders in the warmest words possible. He gave Borchu 10 golden goblets and a mantle of honor. He rewarded others with very great bounty and said as they were leaving him, "Once I appeared as a fugitive, naked and hungry. Temujin received me, he nourished me and clothed me. How can I thank my magnificent son for his goodness? In former days, Yasugai brought back my people, and now Temujin has sent his 4 heroes. With heaven's help, they have vanquished the Naimans and saved me. I will think of these benefits and never forget them." When the old Khan had gone back to his yurta and all had grown quiet on all sides, Temujin went to visit his father and Anda. At the Black Forest, the 2 men expressed to each other their feelings, and at last Temujin described with much truth and very carefully, though with few words, the real position. "I cannot live on in safety without thy assistance, my father. The Naimans on one side and my false plotting relatives on the other afflict me. My relatives rose up the Taijutes and every enemy against me, but seeing thy love for me, they know that while thou art alive and unchanged and art ruling, they cannot destroy me. Thou too, O father, canst not live on in safety without my firm friendship. Without me, thy false brothers and cousins, assisted by their allies, would split up your people and snatch your dominion. They would kill you unless by swift flight you were able to save yourself from ruin. Sengun, your son, would gain nothing. He too would be swept from both power and existence, though he does not see this at present. I am his best stay, as well as thine, my father. Thou art my greatest stay, too, and support. Without thee, all my enemies would rise up at once to overwhelm me. But were I gone, and my power in their hands, thy power would pass soon to thy deadliest enemies, thy relatives. Our only way to keep power and live on in safety is through a friendship which nothing can shatter. That friendship exists now, and we need only proclaim it. Were I thy elder son, all would be quiet and settled for both of us." When Wang Khan was alone, he spoke thus to himself and considered, "I am old. To whom shall I leave the direction of my people? My younger brothers are without lofty qualities. My brother Jaganbo is also unable to stand against enemies. Sengun is the only man left me. But whatever Sengun's merits may be, I will make Temujin his elder son. With these 2 sons to help me, I may live on securely." At the Black Forest, Temujin became elder son to Wang Khan. Up to that time, he had called the old chieftain his father for friendship, because he and Yasugai both had been his Andas and allies. Now, Wang Khan and Temujin used the words son and father in conversing and with their real value. This adoption of Temujin excluded Sengun in reality from the earliest inheritance. And Temujin knew well, of course, that immense opposition would come from Sengun and Jamuka. "We shall fight side by side in war against enemies," said Wang Khan to his new elder son. "In going against wild beasts, we are to hunt with common forces. If men try to raise quarrels between us, we will lend no ear to anyone and believe only when we have met and talked carefully together over everything and proved it." Thus they decided, and their friendship on that day was perfect. The crushing defeat of the Naimans, which lowered them much, immediately raised Temujin above every rival. Jamuka's plotting had turned against himself most completely, and if he had planned to help Temujin, he could not have helped better. Somewhat later, Juchi Kasar snatched another victory from the Naimans and weakened them further. Tuktabiji, the Merkit chief, sent Orjank and Kutu, his brothers, to rouse up the Taijuts afresh against Temujin. Anku and Hakaju took arms and made ready to help Targatai, the Taijut chief, with Kurul and Kurudar. Temujin and Wang Khan marched in the spring of 1200 and met those opponents at the edge of the Great Gobi Desert, where they crushed them completely. Targatai and Kurudar were both slain. Targatai was the man who acted so bitterly against Temujin after his father was poisoned. This Taijut leader fell now at the hand of Jalaun, a son of that same Soron Shira, who had rescued Temujin from the river Onan, taken the Kang from his neck, and hidden him under wool racks. Hakaju and Anku, who had helped on this war by enabling Tuktabiji to rouse up the Taijuts, fled now to Bargajin with Tuktabiji's two brothers, while Kurul found a refuge with the Naimans. Still, this defeat did not end Taijut rancor. The Katkins and Saljuts shared this hatred. Temujin strove, however, to win them and sent an envoy with this message: "Each Mongol clan should support me. Then I could protect all without exception." This envoy was insulted. Some snatched entrails from a pot and slapped his face with them. They struck him right and left and drove him off amid jeers and loud howling. These people knew clearly, of course, that after insults of that kind, they were in great danger. The Taijuts were crushed, and
"When I was in those great straits," asked Temujin, who now understood what had taken place, "how hadst thou courage to steal to the enemy all naked? If they had caught thee, wouldst thou not have said that I was here wounded? If they had caught me, I should have told them that I had surrendered to them, but that thou hadst then seized me, and learning that I had surrendered, hadst stripped me, and wert just ready to cut off my head when I sprang away and ran to them for refuge. They would have believed every word, given me clothes, and sent me to labor. I should have stolen a horse soon and ridden back to thee." "When the Merkits was seeking my life on Mount Burhan," said Temujin, "thou didst defend it. Now thou hast sucked stiffened blood from my neck and saved me. When I was dying of thirst, thou didst risk thy own life to get drink and restore me. I shall not forget while I live these great services." Temujin, Temujin, Temujin. Temujin saw next day that Jamuka's men had scattered in the night while his own men were still on the battleground. He hunted after the enemy then for some distance. All at once, on a hill, a woman dressed in red was heard shouting, "Temujin," very loudly. He sent to learn who she was and why she was shouting. "I am Kadon, the daughter of Sorgan Shira," said the woman. "The people have tried to cut down my husband, and I was calling Temujin to defend him." Temujin sent quickly to save Kadon's husband, but he was dead when they found him. Temujin then called Kadon to sit at his side because of the time when she guarded him under woodpacks at her father's. One day later, Sorgan Shira himself came to Temujin. "Why come so late?" inquired Temujin. "I have been always on thy side," replied Sorgan, "and anxious to join thee. But if I had come earlier, the Taijuts would have killed all my relatives." Temujin pursued farther, and when he had killed Achu's children and grandchildren, he passed with his warriors to Hubahai, where he spent that winter. In 1202, Temujin moved in spring against those strong Tartars east of him. That people inhabited the region surrounding Buyir Lake and east of it, hence they were neighbors of the Juichis of that day, known as Manchus in our time. Those Tartars had 70,000 yurtas and formed 6 divisions. Their conflicts with each other were frequent, and each tribe plundered every other. Between these Buyir Tartars and the Mongols, bitter feuds raged at all times. Temujin fell on 2 tribes called Ilchi and Chagan. Before the encounter, he instructed his warriors very strictly. Hunt down those people. When ye conquer, slay without pity, sparing no man. Touch no booty till the action is over. After that, all will be honestly divided. He heard later on that Kujaya and Daretai, his two uncles, with Altan, his cousin, had disregarded this order and seized what they came upon. He deprived these men straightway of all that they had taken, and when a division was made at the end of the struggle, no part was given them. Through this strictness and punishment, Temujin lost the goodwill of those chiefs who opposed him in secret and confirmed later on the great rupture made between him and Wang Khan by Jamukha. Temujin had killed many Tartars in this conflict and captured most of the survivors. Now he counseled with his relatives as to what should be done with those captives. "They deserve punishment," said he. "They killed our granduncle and our father. Let us slay every male who is higher than the hub of a cartwheel. When that is done, we must make slaves of the others and divide them between us." All who were present accepted this method. The question being settled in that way, Belgatai went from the council. "What have you fixed on today?" inquired Ikacharin, a Tartar captive belonging to Belgatai. "To kill every male of you who is higher than the hub of a cartwheel," said Belgatai. The other prisoners, on learning this, broke out and fled, never stopping till they reached a strong place in the mountains and seized it. "Go and capture their stronghold," commanded Temujin. This was done with much trouble and bloodshed. The Tartars fought with desperation and was slain to the last one, but many of Temujin's choicest warriors were lost in the slaughter. "Belgatai told the enemy our secrets," said Temujin. "Many good men have perished because of this. Belgatai is excluded from council. Hereafter let him stay outside and guard against thefts, fights, and quarrels. Belgatai and Daretai may come to us only when councils are ended." When Temujin had killed all the male Tartars who were higher than the hub of a cartwheel, he took as wife Isugan, a daughter of that same Ikacharin who had put the question to Belgatai. Isugan gained Temujin's confidence quickly. She pleased him, and soon she said to him, "I have an elder sister, Isui, a beauty. She ought to be the Khan's consort. Though she is just married, I cannot tell where she is, but we might find her." "If she is a beauty," said Temujin, "I will find her. Wilt thou then give thy place to thy sister?" "I will give it as soon as I see her," said Isugan. Temujin sent men to search out Isui. They found her in a forest where she was hiding with her husband. The husband fled, and Isui was taken to Temujin. Isugan gave her place to her sister. One day, Temujin was sitting near the door of his tent with these sisters and drinking. Noting that Isui sighed deeply, suspicion sprang in him. He commanded Mukuli and others in attendance to arrange the people present according to the places they occupied. When all were reckoned, one young man was found unconnected with any ulus or community. "What man art thou?" inquired Temujin. "I am Isui's husband," replied the young stranger. "When they took her, I fled. Now all is settled and ended. I came hither thinking that no man would note me in a great throng of people." "Thou art a son of my enemy," said Temujin. "Thou hast come to spy out and discover. I killed your people and find no cause to spare thee more than others." Temujin had the man's head cut off. The Merkit chief took to Biji, came back from Lake Baikal and attacked Temujin, but was baffled. He turned then to Barik of the Naimans, who joined a confederacy of Katkins, Durbans, Saljits, and Wirats, together with Merkits, and moved in 1202, near the autumn, with a strong force to strike Temujin, who was supported by Wang Khan, his old ally. Because of the season, Temujin retired to mountain lands near the Khitan, North Chinese border, his plan being to lure on the enemy to dangerous high passes where attacks and bad weather might ruin them. The Confederates followed fast through the mountains and skirmished, but before they could fight a real battle, wind and snow with dense fog brought on, as was said, by magicians, struck them all and stopped action. The Confederates were forced to retreat greatly weakened. They lost men and horses killed by falling in the fog over precipices, while multitudes perished in wild places from frost and bitter cold. Jamuka was moving on to join the Naimans, but when he saw the sad plight of the Confederates, he fell to plundering a part of them, and after he had taken good booty from the Saljits and the Katkins, he encamped near Temujin and his ally, observed very closely what was happening, and waited. Temujin and Wang Khan passed the winter on level land near the mountains where snow served as water. While there, he asked in marriage Wang Khan's granddaughter, Chaur Biji, for his own eldest son, Juchi, and Wang Khan mentioned Temujin's daughter, Kuchin Biji, for Sengen's son, Kushbuga. These two marriage contracts, agreed on at first, were broken later on for various not well-explained reasons. Jamuka was undoubtedly the great cause in this matter and raised the whole quarrel. This rupture was followed by wrangling and coolness between the two allies, thus giving a still further chance to Jamuka. As he had never been able to estrange Wang Khan thoroughly from Temujin, he now turned in firm confidence to Sengen. He conquered Wang Khan's son and heir with the following statements. Temujin has grown strong and desires to be the greatest among men. He has determined to be the one ruler. He cannot be this unless he destroys your whole family. He has resolved to destroy it, and he will do so unless you prevent him. Temujin has made a firm pact with your enemy Baibuga, Taiyang of the Naimans. He is to get help from Baibuga, and is only waiting for the moment to ruin your father. That done, he will seize and kill you. He will take your whole country and keep it. In this way, Jamuka filled Sengen's heart with great fear and keen hatred, feelings strengthened immensely by Temujin's uncles Daratai and Kujair, who, with Altan, his cousin, were enraged at the loss of their booty and for other reasons. These men declared that every word uttered by Jamuka was true. A great plot was formed and directed by Jamuka. Jamuka, who was watching events and working keenly, took with him Altan and others at the end of 1202 and went again to Sengen, who was then living north of Chechehar, and while attacking Temujin spoke like this. Envoys are moving continually between Temujin and the Naimans. Those envoys are fixing the conditions of your ruin. All this time Temujin is talking about the ties between himself and your father, whom he calls also father. Your father has made Temujin your elder son. You are now Temujin's younger brother and have lost your inheritance. Soon you will lose your life also. Unless you destroy this man, very quickly he will kill you. Do you not see this? When Jamuka finished, Sengen went at once to his friends to explain and take counsel. If we are to end him, I myself will fall on his flank. Say the word.
Although very slightly, it was late in the evening and dark, so he brought together his men and was careful to seek out and save Hwildar. Temujin during that night withdrew from the battleground, and at daybreak discovered that Ogatai, his son, with Barul and Borchu, were all three of them missing. "Those two faithful men," said Temujin, "have lived with my son, and now they have died with him." He grieved that day greatly. The next night he feared an attack and held all his people in readiness to receive it. At daybreak he saw a man riding in from the battleground and recognized Borchu. He turned his face heavenward, struck his breast, and was grateful. "My horse," said Borchu when he had ridden up to Temujin, "was killed by the enemy. While escaping on foot, I saw a pack horse that had wandered far from the Karaites. He had a leaning burden. I cut the straps, let the pack fall, then mounted the beast and rode hither." A second horseman appeared somewhat later. When he had drawn near, it was seen that besides his legs, two others were hanging down near them. Ogatai and Borul were on that horse. Borul's mouth was all blood besmeared. He had sucked stiffened blood from Ogatai's neck wound. Temujin wept when he saw this. He burned the wound with fire straightway, and gave Ogatai a drink to revive him. "A great dust has risen near the enemy," said Borul. "They are moving southward, as it seems, toward Mount Mao." Temujin marched now to Dalan Naimergas, where Kadan Daldur brought him tidings. When Sengun was wounded, said Kadan, Wang Khan said to his counselor, "We have attacked a man with whom we should not have quarreled. It is sad to see what a nail has been driven into Sengun, but he is living and can make a new trial immediately." Achik Shilun spoke up then. "When thou hadst no son," said he, "thou wert praying to receive one. Now when thou hast a son, thou shouldst spare him." Wang Khan yielded and gave up further thought of battle. "Carry my son back with care," said he to his attendants. "Do not shake him." Father and son then turned homeward. Temujin marched toward the east. Before starting, he reviewed the remnant of his army and found only 5,000 men altogether. On the way, his men hunted. While beating in game, Temujin tried to restrain Hwildar, whose wound had not healed, but he rushed quickly at a wild boar. His wound opened, and he died shortly after. They buried him on Ornay, a hill near the Kalka. At the place where that river falls into Lake Buyur lived the Ungirats. Temujin sent Churchadai with the Uruts and Monguts to talk with that people. "Remember our blood bond," he said to them in Temujin's name, "and submit to me. If not, be you ready immediately for battle." After this declaration they submitted, hence Temujin did not harm them. When he had thus won the Ungirats, he went to the eastern bank of the Tugeli, and thence sent Arkai Kasar and Sewage Chowni to Wang Khan with the following message: "We are now east of the Tugeli. Grass here is good, and our horses are satisfied. Why wert thou angry with me, O my father? Why didst thou bring such great fear on me? If thou hadst the wish to blame, why not give the blame reasonably? Why destroy all my property? People divided us, but thou knowest well our agreement, that if men should talk to either of us to the harm of the other, we would not believe what was said until we, thou and I, should explain questions personally. But, my father, have we had any personal explanation? Though small, I am worth many large men. Though ugly, I am worth many men of much beauty. Moreover, you and I are two shafts of a single kibitka. If one shaft is broken, an ox cannot draw the kibitka. We are like two wheels of that kibitka. If one wheel is broken, the kibitka cannot travel. May I not be likened to the shaft or the wheel of a kibitka? Your father had 40 sons. You were the eldest, therefore you were made Khan. After that, you killed Tai Timur and Buga Timur. These were 2 of your uncles. You had the wish also to kill Erke Kara, your brother, but he fled to the Naimans. A 3rd uncle, in avenging his brother, went against you with an army, and you fled with 100 men to the Haraun Defail. At that time, your daughter was given by you to Toktabihi the Merkits, and from him you came to my father with a prayer for assistance. My father drove out your uncle, who fled then to Kashin, and my father brought back your people. In the black forest of Tula, you made yourself an onda to my father, and moved in those days by gratitude, your words to him were of this kind: For your benefactions to me, I will make return not only to you, but your children and grandchildren. I swear by high heaven that I will do so. After that, your brother Erke Kara got troops from the Naimans, made war on you a 2nd time, and drove you to the lands of the Gurkhan. In less than a year, you wearied of the Gurkhan and left him. Passing through the Uyghur country, you were brought to such straits as to nourish yourself with the milk of 5 sheep that went with you, and with blood from the camel on which you were riding. At last you came to me on a gray, old, blind, wretched horse. Because of your friendship for my father, I sent men to meet you and bring you with honor to my campground. I collected what I could from my people and gave you provisions. Later, when you had conquered the Merkits, I let you keep all their property and cattle. After that, when you and I were pursuing Buruk of the Naimans and fighting with Gugsu Serak, you made fires in the night deceitfully, withdrew and forsook me. Gugsu Serak missed seeing my forces. He followed after you swiftly. He captured the wives of your brothers and their warriors. He captured half your people. Again you asked for me for aid, and I gave it. I sent my 4 heroes who saved you and restored what the Naimans had taken. You thanked me at that time most heartily. Why attack now without cause? Why attack when I have done no evil to you or Sengun, or harmed either of you?" When the men gave these words to Wang Khan, he sighed deeply and answered, "I should not have quarreled with Temujin. I should have stayed with him." Then he cut his middle finger, and putting the blood from it into a small horn, he said, "If I harm Temujin, may I be cut as this finger is cut." He gave the horn then to Temujin's messenger. To Jamukha, Temujin sent this message: "Through envy and hatred you have parted me from my father. In former days, when we lived, you and I, at his yurta, that one of us two who rose earlier took Mars milk from the dark drinking cup kept by my father. I rose always early, and you conceived toward me hatred at that time. Drink now from my father's dark drinking cup. Much loss there will be not from anyone from you drinking." Temujin commanded to say to Altan and to Huchar, "I know not why you resolved to desert me, O Huchar. We wished first to make you Khan, since you are the son of Naigun, but you were unwilling. Your father, O Altan, ruled as Khan once, hence we wished to choose you to rule over us. You would not yield to our wishes. Sachai Baiki and Taichu, sons of Bartan, had still higher claims, but both men rejected our offer. After that, you and with you the whole people proclaimed me as Khan, though as you know, I was unwilling. You have withdrawn from me now and are helping Wang Khan, but you have begun what you can never finish. I advise you to meet me with confidence, for without me you are powerless. Work well with me to hold the headwaters of our people. Let no stranger come in to snatch them from our people." Temujin commanded to say to a slave named Togrul, "I have called you my brother for the following reason. On a time, Tumbinai and his brother Charaha had a slave known as Okta. This slave had a son Subegai, and he a son Kirsan Kokocha, and he a son Iga Huan Tohar. This last man begat you. Why do you flatter Wang Khan and adhere to him? Altan and Huchar would never let other men rule over my flock. You are my slave by inheritance, hence I address you as brother." To Sengun, Temujin sent this message: "I am a son of your father born with my clothes on. You are his son born in nakedness. Once our father showed equal kindness to both of us, but dark suspicion attacked you, and you, fearing lest I might trick you in some way, conceived a great hatred and expelled me unjustly. Cease causing grief to your father. Go to him now and drive out his sorrow. Unless you expel from your heart that old envy against me, it will be clear that you have the wish to be Khan ere your father dies naturally. Should you wish to confer with me and come to agreement, send hither 2 men for that purpose." Arkai Kasar and Sewage Chowni gave these words to Sengun, and he answered, "When Temujin spoke of my father as Khan, he called him old murderer while he did so. And when he called me his sworn friend, he jeered at me touching the Merkits and said that I came to this world to handle ram's tails and remnants. I know the hidden sense of his speeches. I know